Good morning for me. Good afternoon for you. I have Jan. I'm sorry. Jan is with me. He is book holder from Slovakia. And I just met you, and I really appreciate you joining me and syncing up time wise to join my podcast. Um, Jan, uh, you mentioned to me about how relatively close Ukraine is. That's to the east of where you're at, right?
Yeah, hello, Fritz. It's good to see you.
Good morning for me.
Yeah,
Yes. So, how is life in Slovakia? With what in the U.S. we hear about so much news happening in Ukraine. You mentioned power outages. How has that felt in your world?
um, I don't know. I mean, I don't see it in the daily life,
It hasn't
but
affected
I
you.
don't go out too much.
Okay, because you focus a lot on Bitcoin work and the Bitcoin command line interface and scripting, right? A lot of work in that realm.
And that's what I play with. Yes.
All right. So now imagine, if you will, that a lot of my audience may not be super technical, but we want to hear kind of what you're working on and how you got into it. So describe big picture, like what's the software that you're working on? What's it called? How might people play with it? Tell me all about it.
So back in the days when I started to learn about Bitcoin, it
Hmm.
was 2017, end of year, and early 2018. I realized the need to get the free testing bitcoins on the testing networks where I could learn without losing any real Satoshi. I
Hmm.
understood that quite early on that I don't want to spend real Bitcoin on playing and that I would like to learn how it works, but it may need some free bitcoins to play with.
Right.
And in those days there were already some testnet faucets and they worked much better than they do today
Hmm.
because already back then I started to do some automation to get lots of sats from the faucet, and it was not restricted at all. So it was just sending me lots of transactions my way.
Hmm.
And eventually it became known. I mean, not known by name. Nobody contacted me, or I didn't contact anyone. It was just there appeared uh, some hurdle on the website that stopped you from doing it too much.
Hmm.
And I was thinking for myself ever since then, how would I do it? And I actually tried to do some faucets of mine back. It was straight sending a transaction for every request. And this, what I learned later after years, that was quite very straightforward approach. So many people could do that, but it's not the best thing to do
Now,
because it's
real
much
quick for some
better to
context. I don't,
separate the unrelated parts.
and I don't mean to
That,
interrupt, but I've heard of, so
yeah,
there's testnet on Bitcoin's had like testnet, right? Where you can do tests and play around with stuff and you're not dinkering on the main chain. But
mhm.
said that could be going away, or testnet 3 or something. Was that going to be checked?
Yeah, that's only this particular implementation that's for many years running
Mm-hmm.
and was misused so much. And recently, what was found was that you can actually fake the block time. And by faking the block time, you would be able to mine blocks, and no one else after you would be able to mine blocks until some time passes.
How do you do
And
that? This is on
so
testnet?
it's, yeah, but generally these concepts were very helpful in understanding the problem, which was general and so even applicable to Bitcoin mainnet. But
Mm.
luckily, there is so much competition that no one ever needed to do it this way yet.
Is what you're working on
And
accessible to anyone who wants to learn Bitcoin and play with it? Like you have an environment?
yes, yes,
How do they
exactly.
get it?
And it's on the Bitcoin testing network called Signet.
Signet.
And Signet has an advantage that if you want to focus on application development, then you don't have to care about the block mining. And so the blocks are being produced,
Mm-hmm.
but you cannot mine blocks freely like on Bitcoin, on the Signet, although it's totally Bitcoin network. So
So
everything
Signet.
else works by the Bitcoin rules.
So all the protocols run in it's following all the rules, but it's a kind of a clean, open frontier for you to try things out, play with it, see how it works,
Mhm.
build things on
Yeah,
it, and prove it out. So you can make sure, like,
yeah.
if you're
There
working on,
is even a possibility to run your own custom Signet,
mm-hmm,
and that they there can run any number of these.
and you're not going to
I
mess
don't
yourself up.
care. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, the closest I ever got to, and I haven't read through all this, but so I've got Programming Bitcoin by Jimmy Song. Uh, you
Hmm.
uh, it gets into it starts out a little. You can be like, whoa, elliptical curves and all that, and coding and stuff, but you do a lot of command line interface and the Bitcoin script work, not as much coding, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes, but the book you showed could be very interesting, I guess. And thus, he mentioned there is a limit to the private key that you can use zero for the private key, for example. I guess it could be there. I guess it's similar topic to what he's going through. And for example, I in my life I approached the same topic multiple times from different directions. So it's like describing the elephant by the blind monks.
Different pieces of it. We all see something, but
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. And for example, today I again came to the thing that I did years ago, maybe, but I don't know. I don't have it noted. And that's the fact that you cannot use the zero
Mm.
as Bitcoin private key because that would be division by zero. And there is also a limit. You cannot use uh, all the way up to 2 to the power of 256.
Yeah,
So
whatever that is. F F F F F F
yeah,
F. Or,
that's too much. That would be FFFFF in hexadecimal.
yeah.
That would be all just Fs, but the limit is already lower uh, because there is again some reason to not go there, to
Yeah,
not go
so
to the
you can
super
test out
high.
edge cases. The benefit to this environment as well is that you can blocks are being produced, and you can rely on a functioning network, and you can test out
Yes,
things like
yes.
a
And
faucet
in
and
Bitcoin, for example, you can do even transactions
mhm,
to an address which goes to the script of op1, for example, operation 1, operation true,
mhm,
and it can tell you the address in the end. And so there are many things to play with for people who question and have ideas. And that's what I do generally.
I
So
think
that's how I came to the faucet.
that's what can be hard for people sometimes, where you want to learn about Bitcoin, but then everything you do on the main net or with your stuff, it's like super, you want to be super careful. You don't feel like playing around. Your mindset is like, okay, I'll do a little test transaction. Okay. And then maybe I'll do my main transaction, but you don't want to mess anything up. But in Signet,
Uh-huh,
you
uh-huh.
can play around and move large amounts of
Exactly. Yeah.
Bitcoin if you want. You can get a lot of Bitcoin and send a lot of
Yes,
Bitcoin. And
yes.
it's like the early days of
And the
Bitcoin
big
where we're just playing
advantage
around here.
is, sorry,
It's like the
the
early
big
days. Yeah.
advantage is that Signet, there is one official global Signet,
Mm-hmm.
and you can even see it on mempool space. There is a Signet version of mempool space,
Mm, cool.
and you can see it real time what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I can prove that you cannot see everything, but it's the most recent development, and I like to try things that are on the bleeding edge.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioned that Callie sent you some Bitcoin, this Signet Bitcoin, right? And you play with some, uh, interact and learn with others in that space. You got developers and others, some well-known folks that'll use it and play with it, right?
Yes, I noticed the development of Signet back in 2020 something, and I under a different name I tried to help with testing with playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was running a node for Signet in the time when it was not part of the master branch of Bitcoin Core, when it was still in development.
Cool. Now your your handle on X is uh, oh really? Let's see here. If
Anyone.
people anyone oh really one on X, if people want to connect with you and see you now, uh, your name being bookholder, what books do you collect or read or like? What are you have a lot of books? I might say.
Now, as you can see in the picture, they are turned back, so
Yeah.
I don't care.
Uh,
I like to start from zero, from scratch. And I prefer some books, but there could be many traditions in the world, many different families. They have different books they care about more.
do you mind sharing like maybe one of your favorite books or what you've
Uh,
enjoyed lately?
the book I keep opening is the Bible,
Oh,
Slovak translation.
Slovakian translation of the Bible. So,
Yeah,
and I don't want you don't have to talk about your faith if you don't want to, but it is
yeah.
faith
Take it
very
easy. Yeah,
okay. I'm good
I
with that.
can say anything, but I just wanted to talk about the Signet faucet mostly this
Yes. Okay.
time, but we can follow anything you like.
Okay.
So
I'm
I
happy.
wonder
I want you to share
what
as
you
much about
wonder.
Signet as we can. Yes. Um, but your faith drives day to day, what the work you do and your passion for Bitcoin and is that would you say that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay. It is for a lot of Bitcoiners. I think, Bitcoin represents core value type ideas. It does for me. So
Mhm,
sometimes,
mhm,
people's faith and their values and their view on life, it's all integrated. And Bitcoin connects with people in a way that through and through, it's like honest money. So it runs parallel to people's values. So it does for me at least.
mhm.
Okay, so tell me more about Signet then. Uh, what have you been working on lately in that space? I know you're testing edge cases, and is it growing in application, or what's been happening lately?
I think that it's either being used by automation software. So there are hundreds of requests in every block to the faucet. So either people use it really or is being tested by someone, but not me.
Other people are out there
And
working on it.
yeah, on the other hand, it's very nice and very Bitcoin way, I would say. And many things that I learned in Bitcoin were not given to me like holding my hand and this is the first and this is the second step. It was I was repeatedly thinking, oh, what's that? How does it work? And how can I maybe do something similar on the testing network?
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe there is even interaction with people on Bitcoin testing networks, but you don't know it. You don't say, hi, this is how you do it. You just do something, and the other person wonders, oh, what was that?
Yeah,
And they can find the transaction, they can recall, they can decode it, they can figure out what's happening. And
it's
now with the op returns, you can write even a lot of text in a Bitcoin transaction.
right.
But I mean, you still could back then, but now even the big op returns are being mined. And that's very useful
Mm,
because for testing Bitcoin, you sometimes need to fill the mempool.
mm,
And the best way to fill the mempool is with the op return big transactions.
mm,
Because otherwise the transaction limit that now is valid also for op return is 100 kilobytes.
mm,
And if you didn't use the big op return, then you need to fill those 100. You cannot go all the way exactly to 100 usually, but you need to fill it with some real transactions, sending sats to different addresses, or maybe just reusing one single address. That's also one of the less known things on Bitcoin, that you can use the same address many times in one transaction.
mm.
And not just that you can, of course, you can, and that's not a good practice. And the Signet faucet is not showing good practice for daily Bitcoin usage,
Yeah.
but it's showing the best practice for faucet operation because it's reusing the same address over and over again.
And on Signet, you
And
can play with that. Whereas on the mainnet, yeah, I
yeah,
always tell people use a different address every time, security and all that. But on Signet, you can play with what you're talking about.
but there is one other interesting thing that even on mainnet you can do all that crazy stuff, and it was being done back 10 years ago.
Early frontier
And
days, yeah.
yeah, and even the Bitcoin address that's being used in the signet, you can see it as a script in the Bitcoin script. And you can use the same hexadecimal value in the main chain.
I see.
So actually, that's the way I would accept any gifts, or just if someone could reuse the same address, because I have the private key and I can. I mean, it's not the same address. It doesn't look like, because on Signet it starts with TB, testing Bitcoin. But if you look at it as bytes, what's really in the script, in the transaction, you can copy and paste the same thing in the mainnet transaction, and it gets sent to a different address, yes, but that address is being also controlled by the same private key like I have on the Signet.
I see. And it'll still work. So, like,
Yeah, supposedly.
supposedly.
Yeah, I never
Buyer
tried
beware.
it. It's like many things in Bitcoin. For example, I'll tell you that people may have some ideas which are not proven. They can say, this is this distributed network, and you cannot do crazy stuff with transactions. But I know I can, because I run just a few nodes at home. And I sent transactions to the real Bitcoin mainnet, and some other transactions didn't get mined because my transactions were paying more fee and they were prioritized by the miners. I paid everything on fee. That's the super advantage of what I was trying, that there seemed to be someone who was trying to get Bitcoin from a publicly known address, which didn't need any key to operate. And I made a transaction which is spending the same little bit of Bitcoin, but sending it all on fees to the miner, whoever mines it. And it got mined. And things like this you cannot prove differently than trying and seeing for yourself.
Right. Yeah, and so it's a great environment to learn and play, try out command line interface stuff, not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm playing with my Bitcoin, my real Bitcoin. You can
Yes,
get
exactly.
creative and adventurous with it, and meanwhile you're learning how Bitcoin works, how the protocol works, what the commands are, scripts. I've seen some examples of wild long scripts with transactions that were busy. And so parsing that out and understanding how those work and what's happening. I'm not really good at that. I have a computer background, but when it comes to Bitcoin script and Bitcoin command stuff, I'm not real educated on it. So now
me neither. I have some limit, some level of complexity which I don't go beyond.
So tell me the difference between Signet versus, say, the other legacy like the testnet. You mentioned like testnet 3 going away.
Yes, because it's going to be replaced by testnet 4.
Testnet 4.
But looking at the activity on testnet 4, I don't find it a very useful replacement, maybe for the miners. maybe for those who want to try to mine, just testing. But otherwise, there are some ideas in the testnet for that the developers of Bitcoin could use, so that it allows them to mine a block when no other block was mined for 20 minutes or something.
Mm.
And it allows them to mine very easily that block.
So that, yeah, they can
But
get validation returned quickly.
mhm. And I don't think it really works as expected. So for me, Signet is very reliable network to play with and to learn on and
So
to
Signet's
use
like a
as a
better
test
environment for
bed.
that kind of, and for miners as well,
Yeah,
right? Miners would use Signet to test things out.
no, no, no,
No.
no. Miners wouldn't, because on Signet you would need a private key to sign something in a block to make it valid on a Signet network.
Gotcha.
And that's why you can have a custom Signet. There, even miners could use it to learn things, but no one else could see it maybe because it would be custom some local network. It's similar to Rectest on Bitcoin. Any one of us can run as many rec tests as they like. It
Mhm.
can be a new network every time. And you can have much more Bitcoin on rec test, but that's local to your machine.
Okay.
And you can actually make it public. You can connect it to other nodes, but I've not seen it in practice too much.
Are there many users of Signet right now? It's still pretty open and new frontier, right? You see people automate on it. Um,
I guess that there are some people using it, yes. Even from the transactions, sometimes I just look what's happening on the network and I see, oh, someone got this from uh, op opcat. There is a way to mine blocks on Signet using an opcat script. And that's very special, very nice. It was done by Anthony,
by who?
by Anthony Stone.
Oh, Anthony. Okay.
That's from the land of Oz.
Okay. Do you mine yourself? Do you play with mining, building templates, any of that?
A little bit, yes, but only with Bitcoin Core.
Mm-hmm.
So Bitcoin Core can mine as it is anytime, and still it just doesn't make sense. I will not mine anything real, but I can play with it, I can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend everyone who has not uh, went deep into this topic and is interested that there is possibility to mine
Yeah.
Bitcoin using just Bitcoin Core. You don't need anything else. It's not easy to access because in the old times it was in the menu, so you could use the graphical environment
Mm-hmm.
and tap on mine now or something like this, and it would do it. Now it's not so easily accessible, but you can still do it.
With the command line.
There is a command.
Yeah. What I tell everyone to run a node, like for Bitcoin decentralization and security, everyone needs to run a node or multiple nodes, but run a node, people. I tell people, like, hey, if you like Bitcoin, you're going down the path, run a node. Yeah, mine and contribute hash if you can or if you want to, but take self custody and run a node. Those are a couple of core themes that I like to emphasize. And in the early days, I mean, the Bitcoin client was all in one, node running and command line, but a miner as well. It was a miner, and then it split apart largely, where the miners running their own mining environments, and the node is more for transaction use, and mempool validation, all that. But you can still mine with core, but just it's not through the UI so much.
Yes, and the node would be still required by any miner to form a valid block.
Right.
Because you need a valid block, you need to mine a valid block if you have too much energy and too many machines. And of course, your miners could be individual people who are just using your pool. And so it's very interesting, the differentiation of and the separation of multiple levels of Bitcoin mining.
That's a whole realm of people think about Bitcoin stuff, and then the mining side of things is a whole nother world. There's so much else going on there too. It's involved. I mean, you can do it simply, but there's a whole world of possibilities there too.
Yes, and I would say it allows for many errors of interpretation. So even the listeners can interpret it not exactly as it is, because on computer you cannot lie. Computer always tells you how it is. It either works or not.
It's funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, in a human head, you can lie to yourself.
Sure. Yeah, it's having programmed and you or just using computers all the time. It happened to me yesterday, where I was writing some little formula script stuff, and it gave me a result that I'm just like, what? Like, no, you go through that thing where it's wrong, but it's funny when you realize it is doing exactly what it was told to do. It's what you told it to do that is the bug. So it's pure honesty. And at a meta level, when you're doing transactions, you're playing on Signet, and it's like you're not communicating with people directly, but at a meta level, you're seeing interaction with the network. And there's a kind of a sense of presence of community out there that is like this meta community that it's that feeling, like you mentioned, like you have a friend that you've communicated with for years, but purely through text and online, but you've never seen them, you've never heard them, you don't know what they actually look like, but you know them. And it's a funny feeling to have on this cyberspace. So what is there a large community where you're at of Bitcoiners that you know of, or it can be?
I don't know. No.
Yes. I feel that too sometimes. You're into Bitcoin.
So maybe everyone could be part of the community. I just don't know.
Yeah. So a good way to connect, like we are here, is online. And do you mind if I mention you have a weekly get together online, the kitchen? Is that something that you invite people to? And
oh yes, sure. Everyone is welcome.
Anyone's welcome.
It's mostly for Bitcoin related things, but you'll find out when you come and ask, and if it's a topic we can think about or whatever. Usually not Bitcoin only means usually that I'm not interested in altcoins. Altcoins is a nice old name for all the different coins.
Right.
So
Some of us say shit coins.
And there are other people in the kitchen who are not interested in altcoins. But we can talk anything from family to politics to anything.
Cool.
It's a kitchen.
I just put the link up to your Bitcoin kitchen connection. So if people do want to join, it's there in the comments, and
Yeah.
so people could join up. What now? You're on European time. When do you open that start at?
The kitchen is always on universal time, and the English tea time is 17 o'clock
7
p.m. and
GMT.
universal time 17 o'clock. That's for me pretty good time in Europe. So it's 6 o'clock p.m. in the winter and 7 o'clock p.m. in the summer.
European time.
And in the US, it's just before lunch.
Right. So I'm thinking Pacific time for me, that's like 9-10 a.m., something like that, I think.
Mhm.
Cool. So yeah, people are welcome to join that and talk to Jan and everything Signet, or like you said, anything under the sun with Bitcoin. That's like the purpose of this podcast, is that with Bitcoiners United, there are so many different kinds of Bitcoiners and people with different backgrounds and interests. I think it's all good. You know, if you ever like online, you'll see arguments. You know, you mentioned running nodes and doing things with nodes, and there's arguments over, yeah, but which node, what kind of node? There can be divisiveness over what type of node you're running, or how maxi are you, and other things. You know, Bitcoin derivatives and the economy, and altcoin, shitcoin. I just think we share a lot more in common than what sometimes would appear to be the arguments going on, and so. Anyway, I think we need to remember that, and the core value and the purpose of why we Bitcoin is still there and strong. I mean, we all want Bitcoin to succeed, and we want the systems to change, and they will. So anyway, we need to unite and talk about all the good things as well. When did you first discover Bitcoin or start learning about blockchain stuff, everything about it?
Bitcoin only from the beginning, and that was too late. I was intentionally ignoring it.
Yes.
So when I heard about Bitcoin, I said, no, not as 5 seconds of my life. I will not invest. I'll not care about it. And eventually I worked in Israel, and there were some math students, hello, and they taught me the basics about Bitcoin. We watched some documentary movie together. And then the guy said, what about reading the 9 pages short white paper? And I said, wow, it's only 9 pages. And he said, yeah, have a look. And when I read it, I worked with computers that time already. So I could understand it. I was reading and I said,
Merkle trees.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And rereading it for many years, and even now, although I don't find so many new things there, but I reread it again and again, and there is so much to learn just wondering, just putting yourself into the space and time when Bitcoin doesn't exist yet, and there are no alternatives. Because it was the only thing, the first thing that worked without the central computer. And just thinking and wondering about could lead you to realizing some basic things about Bitcoin.
And the light bulb went off, and it was like, oh, I get it. Aha.
Yeah,
When I studied computer science, I got a degree in computer science in college, and now this is in the 90s, and so I mean the fundamentals are there, but I mean the internet was still, it felt new in a way. A lot
mhm,
of the protocols like HTML version 1 and all that stuff. But I remember we studied things, you know, computer science theory and all that, but the Byzantine generals problem, where, you know, unsolvable problems of confirming that everyone knows what the truth is, or how do you have a number of actors out there, and there may be bad actors, and so how do we all have consensus? And it was like the Byzantine generals problem was a problem that we didn't know how to solve. And it didn't occur to me until a little bit later, after I'd read the white paper and read other people's understandings about the white paper and what Bitcoin
mhm.
did. But it solved that problem through the consensus protocol. And it was like I liken it to like the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel, the invention of the internet, and how we have this new tech that solves a new problem that opens up a huge potential for humanity. Now, applied to property and money as we know it in Bitcoin, but it solves an amazing problem in humanity. For me, that was this major aha moment, like, oh my gosh, we've discovered something very new. Did you feel that as well?
Yes, totally. I think that would be even good for yet another episode to talk about,
Hmm.
because that was a big influence in my life.
Yeah, it changed everything for me. I was like, oh, the world's going to change. And it's funny when you mentioned hearing about Bitcoin, and you like when I first heard about it as well, I think it was I think it was 2012, 2013, and I very much dismissed it like, oh, you know, tokens and playing around, gaming or whatever. I didn't take it seriously. I didn't know what it was really. I thought it was just some invented like
Mhm.
online token. Okay, great exchange. You know, Mount Gox exchange thing. Okay. But uh, you feel late, like, oh, I ignored it then, and now when I got into it, you know, 7 years later, I was late, and yet we are so early. We're, you know, I when I talk to new people about Bitcoin and they're just starting to understand it now, and they feel late, like, oh, I'm so late, and I tell them, you are early. We are all early.
I'm very thankful for being late,
Tell me
because
about
I
that.
know I was very social person. I liked to go and talk to people and program with people. And so if I was under that influence back in the days, it would be hard for me to go clearly into Bitcoin.
Mm,
And so I focused on low level stuff. I worked with Linux, and then eventually I found about Bitcoin and started to learn, started to ask the questions, because I loved, and I hope I'm not spoiling it by the faucet, because there are so many things you can just wonder about. You
hmm.
can learn about by experimenting yourself. And
Yeah.
the faucet is already making it visible, but it's not the core. It's not the Bitcoin you want to learn about.
Hmm.
It may be useful on some level, sure, but it is already useful, or also useful to do very basic stuff, to just combine the numbers, the hexadecimal numbers, and to play with bytes and bits, and
Hmm.
yeah.
Get into the guts of it, the magic behind the machine.
Mhm.
Now, you were in Israel then when it clicked for you. Is that where you were?
And that's when I was that time.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, I'm at home in Slovakia.
Slovakia. Now, you've worked at a lot of different places as well. Do you care about describing your background working in computers, working with Linux, what you worked on? Do you want to talk about that?
Uh, that's a super big topic, I would say, and I'm quite exhausted already.
Okay. We don't have to go into it if you
So
don't want. But you've worked in a lot of
yeah,
places doing computer work and traveled a bit, but a lot of different companies. And what do you do now? Is it all primarily Signet and Bitcoin, or what other interests and work do you do?
yes, okay. I am at home and I'm not working for any company.
Hmm.
So I receive some money from the state,
Gotcha.
and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was
Oh,
13-year-old,
okay.
and that's maybe the main motivation behind many things I do. So
Gotcha.
even the faucet, even things like that, I have time for that.
Mm, yeah.
And also that's why I like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is time,
Mm,
and I realized I have time, and it's nobody can push me into anything, and even I'm not interested into pushing anything into anyone.
mm,
So that's a Bitcoin way. That's what I learned when I
hmm.
looked at the logarithmic graph done by Marc Bevand from France.
Mm,
And he's a mathematician, and he saw it very early, and that it's special if you put it into logarithmic scale, then it goes generally only up. It has some time when it stays, but then it goes up again. And
mm,
you use this scale for the charts when you are plotting some values in physics, when there are big differences, like what's happening on Bitcoin. But in the big picture, when you step out, the differences are not so huge, and you can see what it really does if it goes up or down.
hmm. You know,
And yeah,
people interpret the price a lot that way when they look at the Bitcoin price and try to imagine the future and like whether it's hash rate or the price in your local government currency, the adoption rate, all kinds of things. Um, let's see, where are we at here? I'm going to look at Clark Moody's dashboard. Let me put this up real quick.
there are people who can think in mathematical limit in what it gets in the end. And so when I saw that chart, I didn't care about what's happening now. I didn't care about the rest because I saw it. It's not related to what I do. It doesn't care, and it just works, and it attracts people, whoever it is.
Yeah, I say TikTok next block. Bitcoin is a time chain, and in the white paper, it refers to time chain. I think it was Hal Finney
Mhm.
that came up with the idea of blockchain because there were blocks on a chain, and he started saying
No,
blockchain.
excuse me.
Go
I would
ahead.
like to say that the blockchain is a very old idea. is nothing new under the sun. It was well known in 1980s.
Oh, okay.
So there is nothing special about blockchain.
Okay.
Everyone knew that if they want to encrypt something in a stream, so whatever comes on the input is being encrypted and sent to the output, then they have to divide the input into the square parts, let's say, in the same size.
Right.
But every time you start anew with the same size, you have to use something from the previous, which makes it totally special now.
Yeah, like Merkle
And that's
trees.
a blockchain.
Yeah, like the concept of Merkle trees, are that.
Merkle trees are even further, I would say.
Mhm.
Blockchain is much more basic
Yeah,
than that.
right.
It's very linear.
Yeah,
Merkle trees can be seen in space,
yeah, a lot of depth. Um,
but blockchain is something simple, and people can see blockchain in Git, even in the version control systems. And Git is the original Linux kernel version control system started by Linus Torvalds,
hmm
and it has some similarities. Some people may not like it. They may not say that, oh, it's not the blockchain. Okay, whatever you say. I don't have to persuade you.
Yeah,
But
argue
there
over
are
words.
some similarities.
Yeah. Now, when you talking about time, I think you having time and the freedom to explore and work on this stuff, it's it's it can be a real gift because I feel like so many of us, and myself included, you get very busy in life or you have a daytime job, or there are so many distractions or stresses or pressures in the world or the news going on, and we're bombarded with busyness and an information age, and you get kind of like a hamster on a wheel where you're too busy, you're too stressed, you don't have time for extra stuff or yourself. And people can kind of get stuck in a rut where, here's Bitcoin, here's something new, and people just don't feel like they have time or room to think extra about it, or they just, life is what it is. I'm chugging along. I go to work, I go home, I watch my sports, and um, you're like, not to say your life is bad. It's just that we're full and we're bombarded, and it can be a rare gift to feel like you have freedom, you have time, and you can explore and play in, say, Bitcoin. So you have that.
Yes, exactly. Now I do. But I was always trying to behave and do things that the others were doing, what I saw around me. So when I was younger, I was very busy, the same you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't have time to study Bitcoin. I had time to ignore it.
Yeah.
And I totally remember it. And I understand my teachers, my Unix and Linux teachers, who would ignore it because they just don't have the time.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't fit their
And but
paradigm.
now, what? Excuse me. What I live now is I call it advantage is in disadvantage. So I wanted to get married. I wanted this and that, but it never happened to me yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, okay, maybe it's time for me to learn to do something which is hidden from the others who have this. what they want in
Yeah.
life.
It's different, it's special, and you can dive in, and that can be your connection to your own life purpose. And people often get caught up in comparing themselves to others, or you see stuff online, influencers, and oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, and life's so great, and people can portray life as a fantasy in a way, and then the rest of us are doing day work, or finding our own path. And um, but uh, it's important not to like compare yourself to others, or feel like oh, I'm missing the boat on this, or I'm different, or whatever. I think being different is good. Being willing to have the confidence that I'm okay, I'm good. Yes, I'm different, but you can still go out there and do things. Just go out and do things like you are. You're exploring and playing and working on Bitcoin, and you just go out and do things. You can still connect with people online. So there's that connection. So your kitchen is a way to do that.
Yes, and the Signet faucet, I didn't even imagine it would be possible, really. I was thinking about it. I was wondering, maybe that and maybe this, but I was brought to it by some people who I never saw in person yet. But I did something. I did a project about the faucet, but it didn't work so well. And I was offered to get a lot of testing Bitcoin regularly. And that's when I saw, oh, maybe I can really finish my idea. And even though it was not ready, I said, okay, I'll try. I'll do my best, and in the end, it works, and I'm very surprised by the result.
That's awesome. Now, Signet faucet, that's related to the Signet you're working on, or is that something you've worked on? I can go online and I can see Signet.
The Signet faucet without alt is the original Signet faucet done by Kale,
Kale did Signet
and
faucet.
he did the Signet network. That was, as far as I remember, it was his idea. I didn't notice, maybe I didn't look so much around. I didn't notice the other guy, Anthony, in the beginning, in the old days. But I was talking to Kale, and I saw that it's needed, but I still couldn't make it. I couldn't do it properly. I couldn't do it to satisfy my requirements, because, for example, my requirement is to never go through a captcha again. So I never want to move mouse and slide movements to fill the picture or something, or rotate some animal, or I don't know. I am human. I don't have to. I don't have to prove that to myself, for sure. And when the computer wants to prove it, then I say, okay, all I need is to slow them down. And I used different methods to slow people down in the past, and eventually with using Cloudflare Turnstile, it is the best and works for me. And I don't have to do any captcha. Sometimes I just mark that yes, I'm a human. And there is no login, no username, no password needed. You don't need to log into GitHub or anything.
be anonymous. I just thought I'd throw up the Signet faucet I just found online here. Signetfaucet.com.
Yes, that's the original one, and that's where I took some inspiration from. But mine looks slightly different now. Depends on your light or dark theme of the system.
Can people access that online right now easily?
Yeah, you just write alt.signetfaucet.com.
I'm just going to
Like
try that out
alternative.
right now. Alt dot signet. Oh, I see it now. Hold on. Is that it?
And yes, exactly. And you see it in dark. So that's very nice also. That's special of this faucet. There are too many faucets which do not respect the dark background setting. And if you click on recycle or something like that is
Right down here,
clickable.
recycle.
Yeah, down there. And now copy any of the addresses you see, the small red on the right. Yeah, copy it, and now go back, click maybe in the left, top left. Okay, now paste the address here.
Okay, and then
And click or press enter. That's also valid to just press enter. Now click what is there. The address.
the address.
And something will be sent here.
Let me see if this
And
is.
if you open it, you can just click on it. It will open mempool space.
Let me. We went to a new window. Sorry, technology here.
Okay, but that's fine.
Okay, here we go. Is that it?
Yes, and scroll down a little bit. And maybe what's the time? When you look at the top right, what's the time of that transaction? Of that transaction you saw when you were a little, yeah, now you can see. That's too much. Go back, yeah, and look to the top right of that transaction, and there should be time like now.
Just now. Yeah.
Just now. Okay. And that means that already what you pasted into faucet, it made the faucet send this transaction also to that address. But it can be any address. You can even use Blockstream app with Signet. There is a description in the discussion. So let's go back to Alt Signet faucet.
Okay. One moment. Sorry, I've got to add back. It opens a new window, so then it bounces around a little bit. Here again, right? Oops.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can actually change it slightly. Thanks for feedback. And now go to the top right and click that burger and click on discussion. And that is on GitHub. And in the discussion, scroll down and find Blockstream app or something.
Blockstream app, wallet with Signet.
Exactly. Okay. Click on that, please. and there are pictures how to do it in the app on Android, but the same it should be, or similar on iPhones or something. So it can be used with Signet.
Oh, cool.
And then you get total unrelated address.
And you can go to
mempool.
mempool.space/signet.
And that's how to connect to mempool space from Blockstream app.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to share that if people are curious and interested, how do I use this thing? I don't know where to start. A lot of information right there on alt.signetfaucet.com, right?
Yes. That's one of the domains this is accessible on. And it's the main domain. I want people to remember.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing this with me.
Hopefully there is not too much in the website, but anyone who is interested, they can go to the About section and read there on Alt Signet Faucet.
Cool. And it'll describe how to use it, what to do, answer questions, and there's a community so people can connect and play with it. So
yes, community of one so far.
So join Signet and play with that. Jan, I really appreciate you joining me. I know there's a lot more to talk about as well, and we're over an hour at this point, but we're kind of running out of time on my end. But anything else that I didn't ask about, didn't get to, that you want to talk about? Is there anything else you'd like to share with me?
About everything. Thank you.
Was that good? Covered what you want? Cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you joining me. I'm going to throw up on the screen here again. This is the link to join Jan at the Bitcoin Kitchen every Wednesday. In the US, it's in the morning. Well, kind of mid-morning for us, and for you, it's well, 9 hours later, afternoon, evening time for you. But you can join the Bitcoin Kitchen. Join Jan. I joined it yesterday and we chatted for a little bit, and that's where I got to know you a little bit. And so just adding to the community and the Bitcoiners out there and getting to play and explore and learn, not on the main chain, but in a test environment with Signet. Mm-hmm. So everyone who wants to learn and play can go to Signet and work with Jan and others who are working in that space. So a little more technical than what I normally talk about, but it's important that, I mean, it's the underlying mechanisms that drive everything about what we're learning about in Bitcoin that we don't think about all the time or just take for granted. Oh, just TikTok next block. It works. It's magic. But underlying all that is a whole world of script and code and protocol. And it's just beautiful. So I find it amazing.
Yes, it can be all understood. So if you are curious, if you are interested, just learn and you can know how it works.
Yeah. And I'm always learning. Even if you're a fairly technical person, there's always more to learn. I mean, you can spend years and years learning more about the inner workings of Bitcoin, and it's always fascinating. There's so much to it. So with that, I really appreciate it, Jan. I'm going to play my quick little word from my sponsor, and and then we'll wrap it up. Thanks, Jan. You can connect with Jan on X, and he is, bear with me. He is on X at anyone really one. a book holder so they can connect with you on X as well. All right, here we go. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Jan. One single MicroSeed kit allows you to stamp as many seed phrases as you want. So check this out. You put your washer in here, you set the table, you grab your punches, and you tap, click, tap, click, tap. Stamp whatever you want, however you want it. It's tiny but clean and aligned. Your obscure little washer is indestructible, and you can hide it anywhere. Get the kit and crank out all the keys you'll ever need forever.